A Sapphire Running Zone podcast.
Hi everyone, this is Tim from the Sapphire Running Zone. Welcome to another of our podcasts, and this one is a little bit different today. We are joined by Alistair, who is a guide runner. So if you've done a marathon or a half marathon, you may well have seen guide runners in the race, and they do an incredible job. And we're going to have a chat today about what it takes to be a guide runner, what the process is, and specifically in relation to a challenge that's being undertaken at the Brighton Marathon very shortly. If any of you have listened to the podcast that I did with Clark, aka Mr. Dot, you'll remember that Clark is running Brighton using smart glasses with the Be My Eyes app. And Alistair is going to be the guide for Clark, who's going to be running alongside just to check everything's all right. I'm sure the tech's going to work amazingly well, but Alistair's going to be there just in case there's any challenges. I'm going to be one of the volunteers who will be helping Clark along. So it's going to be an amazing day. Welcome, Alistair. It's great to have you with us. Give us a little bit of background as to your sort of running career and how you got into the world of guide running.
Well, I've always sort of enjoyed running. Even sort of at school, I was one of them annoying people that wanted to go out and do cross country. Everyone hated me for it. Played football and that, and when I sort of stopped playing football, I decided to do a couple of little fun runs, and then they were 5k, 10k, 20k, and then it snowballed into doing ultra marathons, and then 4, 5, 6 day events, going up the Pennine Way. One of my good friends introduced me to a gentleman from Australia with CLPD and asked me to be a guide runner for him. I've done a few other little events before, helping people, pacing, marathons, half marathons, but this was my first official one. So as I said, the gentleman had CLPD, so I was helped carry the oxygen tank, his batteries, paced him, carried his food and water. Between the two of us, we got to the finish line. And then I was like, this is really good, really rewarding. So I registered for the Richard Whitehead Foundation, saying I'm happy to run with anyone at any pace that I can do, sort of 3.5 hours up to 5, 6, 7, 8. And they contacted me a few months ago and introduced me to Clark. Basically, we'll be in a couple of weeks' time running the Brighton Marathon.
Yeah, it's gonna be an amazing event. I think it's the first time anybody has done a challenge like this, a guy who's blind being able to run,
Yeah,
because you're not gonna be attached, you're not gonna be
no.
tethered to Clark, are you?
Yeah, normally you see that the guide runners are attached, they're tethered together, and it's quite obvious that there's a blind person. I'll have a T-shirt saying guide runner on it, but I've also got a backpack on with a flag to make people aware, because obviously he's going to be wearing glasses, and being guided by people like yourself.
So you've been on a training run with Clark. Just describe what
Yep.
that was like.
I met him down in Portsmouth, where he lives, and we started off together without being contacted with his glasses, just for me to understand the speed he wanted to go, what he needs in direction of there's a curb coming up, there's people on the left, people on the right, bending over, and trying not to manhandle him, just all verbally. And then he contacted someone on the app, and then this lady, I believe she was from Cornwall, came on, and they chatted for about 15 minutes, going along. Happy as Larry, good directional, left, right, and I just sort of stood back and quite enjoyed my little promenade run. So I'm hoping on the day that I'm not needed, so I could just plod along, happy as Larry, and just sort of be there for him if need be. But I've got full faith on the people on the end of the line.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite incredible, really. So in that instance there, when he was out on that training run, he literally is basically relying on people who are
Yeah.
volunteers, and those people don't necessarily know what task it is they're going to be asked to do
No.
in that instance. And all of a sudden, they're helping someone on a run. It's incredible, really.
Yeah, it's impressive. Literally, all he does, you sit there, he will talk to whoever it is, if he's spoken to him before or not, and just chat. What you're doing, weather, and like that. And the person every now and then goes, "Oh, go left a bit, go right a bit." It's nothing. Some people I've spoken to, I've got a couple of friends who are going to volunteer. They're a bit worried about it. Going, "Oh no, it's a big responsibility. I don't know if I could do it." It's not. It's just to chat. And then all I ask anyone was just remember that you are guiding him. So we had one lady that came on and she was so busy in the conversation, she forgot to go left a bit, go right a bit. So, yeah, it's literally just a 10, 15 minute, half an hour chat, however long your segment is, and just chat with him and just everyone's going in the same direction. So technically it should be easy. And every about half an hour, we'll have to stop, change his glasses and reconnect and go again. I got, I mean, like 4 pairs of glasses with him, and they self-charge when I go back in the case. So I'll be carrying those, and yeah, I think it'd be quite simple, as long as the technology works.
When you've done guiding before, I'm interested to know how it all works with pace. So do you often? I mean, you obviously agree beforehand the pace you want to go at. Do you
Yeah,
find that quite a lot of the times you have to adjust that pace because people have maybe thought I can run a bit faster than
yeah,
I actually
all
can?
all
Or
the
the other
time,
way around?
all the time. You always have the people have the. So a lot of people tend to do with especially marathons, is I'm going to run at a say 4 hour. In their training runs, they're doing that. But they don't take into account the amount of traffic, the people, and they try and catch up. So they're going ahead of their pace and they wear themselves out. And that's why they hit the wall at 16, 18 miles because they've been going too quick. With the gentleman I done in Berlin, running with him, and he wanted to do the first 20 miles in 4 hours. After about, I'd say about 4 or 5 kilometres, he was struggling, which you expect. His lungs are working at 30%. So I just held his pace back a little bit. And before we knew it, we'd hit 29 kilometres, and he hadn't had to stop. So we adapted the time for him slightly. He finished strong. He absolutely smashed it. So yeah, everyone else, you need to adapt something like sometimes go too quick, sometimes some people go too slow, and the parts of your body starts hurting.
And how do you adjust your pace then? If you're used to running at a certain pace, how do you change biomechanically? How do you adjust if you've got to go a lot slower than you normally do?
Yeah, you do notice it. If you're not running at your natural pace, every runner would know this if they've ever tried it. I've done a lot of mountain sort of marathons, ultras, and you're always changing your pace. But in a road run, I try and change your run because you can. A lot of people, a natural run, you run sort of hill strike or mid or on your toes or whatever. Some people naturally lift the knees quite high, but I try and do a bit of everything. So if I feel that my hip's starting hurting, I try and to adapt and just change my run for a couple of K, and that normally works. Sometimes I hurt at the end of it, but
And when you're guiding, I mean, what are you talking to the runner about? Is it a range of things? I mean, are you helping motivationally, or are you
yeah,
just talking about the weather and the sights? What goes on between you both?
everything, anything. You just literally chat like your best friends, down the pub or whatever you know what you do with yourself. Yeah, just chat along any subject you like, and then you tell them about your life. They tell them about their life. You know, anything that takes your mind off it. There are occasional that you have people that get into the black hole. Everyone has hit the black hole. What am I doing? Well, why have I paid to do this? It hurts. I'm going to quit. And you just chat to them, and then you just take their mind off it, and then 9 times out of 10 they finish really strong.
What's the sort of average day like? How does it all start? And do the organisers generally in these races really push the boat out to support you?
Yeah, they're really good. Normally they do. You'll have a meet point when you meet up. Yeah, they're really good. The organisers are normally really good. They're helpful, especially at the start and finish. And then if you've got equipment you may need a long route, like because I'm doing the London Marathon with a lady who's running in a chair. There's like a frame, and then she's had to drop wheels off in places, and they've set up for her to do that. Yeah, the organisers are really good, really helpful.
Right. So you're doing Brighton, and then a couple of weeks later you're doing London. Wow. Okay. But given the just before we start the recording, Alistair gave me a bit of a summary of his weekends running. That's going to feel relatively straightforward then compared to what you've just done, isn't it? Tell us what you've just done this weekend.
Yeah, so we started on Friday morning, down at the Jurassic Coast, in the south of England. So day one, we ran across the coastal path and it was 48 kilometres. Day two, we done 46 kilometres. And then day three, we finished with the 48 kilometres. basically 150 kilometres across the coast path, which is a little bit undulating. If anyone's ever been down there, you know.
Yeah, most coast paths tend to be a little bit on the undulating side, don't they? Which you sort of feel when you go for a walk, let alone that kind of distance.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've done the 150K over the weekend, so a couple of
Yep.
marathons in a fortnight probably isn't gonna be too difficult for you, is it?
It should be okay.
Yeah, so let's get back to Clark then. Now Clark's doing this one for the Fight for Sight charity, who
Yeah.
are really supporting this project and helping organise all the various elements of it. Talk us through what the day's going to look like, what time it all starts for you, for him, and what time you expect to be finished at the end of the day.
My day will start probably about 5:30, 6 o'clock. I live in Buckinghamshire, and I'll be driving down to Portsmouth to collect Clark, because it's a lot easier for me to collect him than him trying to get on public transport, and then drive down to Brighton. We have a 10:30 start, if I remember rightly, and then we're looking for about a 5 hour, 5:15 marathon. That's what we're aiming for. Maybe with a couple of breaks to put his glasses and reconnect them. So that's the general plan and timing of the day, and then go for a good meal.
And then so you're probably gonna be back home for sort of 9, 10, 11 o'clock, something like that.
It'd be a late one by the time I get home.
Right, okay. So have you sort of worked out with him things like his race day nutrition, all that, or has he done that himself?
Most of it is done himself. I've gave him a few when we were down, a couple of pointers. He's not the best on taking on food or fluid during the actual event. So trying to persuade him with a bit more food and fluid a bit more often. So that's the plan. You just sort of every 5K, you like, right, come on, have a drink, have something to eat, like that, and help him just get through it.
So you do act almost as a running sort of mentor as well to a degree, don't you, with these things? Particularly if it's someone who's not done a marathon before and you've done
Yeah.
loads of ultras, you know what you're doing with the sort of race day planning and all the nutrition guidance. Do you take extra gear, food and stuff with you, gels and
Yeah.
stuff, just in case they don't have anything with them or there isn't much course?
Yeah, I'll always have. Make sure I got plenty of fluid for myself. I'll have a bladder, but I'll also have another bottle just in case they run out or anything happens or whatever. And I always have gels, little snacks, maybe sweets. I don't know, depends on what they want. And there's one thing I found really good is a little energy strips, but they're laced with caffeine and a bit of energy, and it really helps the mind. If you've been out hiking and you start stumbling coming down a mountain, 9 times out of 10 it's because you're not switched on. So you want to stimulate or whatever. So you have something sweet and a bit of caffeine, and then bang, within seconds you're off again, going strong. So I always have that sort of stuff with me. So I've got a backpack for the goodies.
Okay, sounds good. What would be your sort of top tips then, not just for people you're guiding, but for anyone who's doing a marathon for the first time? What would you say to people? Obviously about getting nutrition right on the day, but in terms of
Yeah.
their planning, their sort of long runs, that kind of stuff, what would be your best advice?
My best advice would be that every sort of 5K, taking on a little bit of fluid, not too much, just a mouthful every 2, 3, 4, 5K, and a little bit of food can really make a difference, especially in the longer races. And if you haven't done a marathon before, don't go out too quick. All right? I've had friends who've gone out, pushed it really hard because I've got to break that time, I've got to hit that time, hit the 18, 19 miles, what they call the wall, and hate it and never run again. So what I try and do is enjoy it, finish strong with a smile. 5 minutes is nothing. It makes no difference. Knock 10 seconds off per K, 20 seconds. You'll enjoy it. Next time, you can push yourself a little bit further. And then before you know it, you're a crazy old man running ultra marathons like me.
It must be a bit strange for you though when you're put in contact with these runners that you sort of meet them so late on in their training almost, don't you? I can imagine you probably want to get in contact a lot earlier, don't you? Because then you can sort of pass on some of these tips because you're not always guaranteed that the runner is trained in the best way.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been quite lucky because the both people I'm doing London and Brighton with, I've actually been down to actually train run with them. So you pick up tips and what they can do, what they can't do, what speed they go, what food and everything like that. Ideally, if you could get hold of them 6 months prior and you do, a couple of long training sessions together, you'd be the more in unison. Especially with the blind people, they normally tend to have a guide runner. It's the only way they can get out when they go with someone. So you get that speed together, and you work well together. With Clark, because he's been using the app, he's been able to get a lot more training in, because he can just dial up and get someone can guide him. But I haven't been with him that much. So yeah, ideally, more training together is beneficial for both parties.
So generally speaking, then when you're at an event and you see a blind runner with a guide runner, they have been working together during their training. Then
Yeah. So they've been training together. 9 times out of 10, they've been out, and they've done from day one all the way up to their 22-miler long run a few weeks before. Um, so everything's natural and in unison.
yeah, so this is different in a number of ways. You've not got a running history with him as
No,
most guide runners have got with their
yeah,
runners.
it's gonna be good. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not worried about it. He's Mr. Dot. He's a good laugh. He's good company. So we can chat along. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It'd be good.
I suppose it's also quite different because, like you talked about with the runner in Berlin, you were chatting all the way through. You won't actually be chatting a lot with him,
No,
apart from when you have the breaks for the change of glasses or at the water station, because he'll be chatting to people on the app.
yeah, because like, when he done the training one, he was chatting to someone on the app, and then he was talking, and I've sort of just okay, I'm watching you like that, and he went, Ali, I went, oh, you're talking to me now. I hadn't realised he had come off the call or it dropped out, and he started talking to me. I was like, oh, sorry. Yeah, 'cause I'm just running along beside him, just making sure he's going in the right direction. Yeah, and listening to him talk literally non-stop.
Just talk a bit more about the charity that you got introduced, the Richard Whitehead charity. Tell us a little bit more about that charity and how many runners they've introduced and how many others you've had from that charity.
I've only had two. Only recently joined. I joined end of last year after doing the Berlin Marathon. So I've got obviously Clark and a lady called Kirby Brown. Have a great team behind them. Because Fight for Sight, there's a lady called Emma, a lovely girl. She came down with a training one with us, and then there's Katie at the Whitehead Foundation, and they liaise, set everything up, um, keep you in contact, equipment, everything like that. They seem to just do everything to make it possible for anyone with any disability to get out there and enjoy the time running. So it's impressive. It's obviously a lot of work, but it's really good.
And it's events all around the world that they do, not
Yeah,
just UK.
yeah. As far as I know, it's everywhere. Yeah, it's impressive what they do. It's good to get everyone out there to run. A lot of people say people just start running, they go, "Oh, I feel so much better. I feel a better person. I have so much more energy." And it's not a myth. It's literally you feel so much better just getting out there. You don't have to do the ultras or the marathons. You feel so much better for it.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I just think this is incredible because it makes the sport so accessible, doesn't it? Because
Yeah.
you can imagine without that charity, without the likes of you doing these things, so many people would not have this experience. So I think,
Yeah.
if there's anybody out there who wants to give a little bit of back to the sport and wants to help other people who might not get the opportunity to do one of these races, which, as you said, I mean, running itself is an amazing feeling and it makes you feel so much better. But doing in a big event like this is like the icing on the cake, really, isn't it? And I think, having someone like you there to guide people to the finish line. I mean, you must get unbelievable thanks when you get to that finish
Yeah,
line.
yeah, because with the Berlin Marathon like that, his wife, Russell's brother, and his wife was there, and they're like, "Oh, I can't believe you've done it. You're great. You're amazing." I didn't do nothing. I literally just ran. No, if it wasn't for you, he wouldn't have made it like that. And we all went out for dinner and that, and had a really nice evening. I didn't do nothing. I literally just carried a couple of bits and chatted. Oh, it's absolutely amazing, and then made me feel like I can't even put it in words. I was so proud, so happy that I'd done it. That's why I signed up straight away. And they enjoyed me so much, they've invited me to Sydney to run with them again. Absolutely
Well,
amazing. I can't believe it. So yeah, they're so thankful. You know, you got me across. I said no, didn't do anything. I just Mitch gave you a little pointer here and there. You done all the work, and they make out like I've done it for them, like I carried them, but I haven't. So yeah, it does feel really good, really rewarding. And anyone out there is slightly contemplating it, just do it
yeah.
because the rewards are just absolutely ridiculous. It just feels so good.
Yeah, indeed. You obviously made a huge impact on that guy's race, and I'm sure you're
Yeah.
going to do the same with Clark. So look forward to 12th of April. I'm not sure I'll see you because you're probably going to be slightly behind Clark, aren't you, on the course? So when I look through his
He
glasses.
will. He does quite often turn around and go, "Oh, this is Ali." So I might be able to wave at you through the
Oh,
glass.
okay. I look forward to that. All right. Well, I really appreciate you coming on, Alistair, and
That's all right.
all the best for the 12th, and we'll catch up with you again soon.
Thank you for the time.
Thanks for listening to this Sapphire Running Zone podcast. Keep checking back as we have lots more podcasts coming soon.